All right. In yesterday's video, I talked with you guys about where Bitcoin needed to get back above for things to turn bullish. But I'm going to come out and tell you guys right now, after spending some more time looking at the chart, we do not have buyers flooding into Bitcoin right now. We've got nibblers at best. Now, I'm actually a nibbler as well because things have pulled back quite a bit. And I'm going to share with you some of the top altcoins and meme coins that I've been acquiring. And I'm also going to bring my man, Kiwi Mo on. Christmas tree trader. No, Tribal Trades is his name. And he has been an incredible resource in the Stocks with Josh community. And he has helped people, answered questions throughout the crisis of the pullback. And why is it a crisis, Mark? Is because a lot of people have been in some of the legacy coins, some of the older coins, which have absolutely been crushed. Now, not a lot has been spared, but you and I have been talking about some of the top altcoins that we're going to share today. We've been going back and forth about the tokenomics, and some have been spared. A couple of these coins barely pulled back. But if you were in any of the legacy coins, these poor legacy coins that are trying to get some traction this particular cycle and have really performed extremely badly against Bitcoin, they're struggling. And the fact is that it's been pretty tough. We're going to go through a little bit of the tokenomics and explain that. I'm going to share some of the newer coins that I'm interested in. And we're going to be talking about what is going on with Bitcoin. Why are there no buyers coming in? And you and I talked a little bit about it. And it's some people are saying, well, you know what? We went through this really difficult moment with Mt. Gox, the distribution, Germany, the distribution of Bitcoin. But the fact is that they haven't even started, right?
That's right. I mean, that was the question I had was, hey, when is Mt. Gox going to stop selling? And I'm like, at the time, July 4th, they haven't even started selling. The coins just got sent to the exchanges. The exchanges have 3 months. They're going to take up to 3 months to distribute these coins. And then it's not all of the coins. It's only half of the 140-odd thousand Mt. Gox coins. So only about 71,000 coins are going to be distributed to people over that 3-month period. And then lastly, how many of these people that get their coins distributed from the exchanges, how many of them are going to sell? Now, Bitcoin was about $600 at the time that Mt. Gox shut down. Now, we don't know all the people and what they're trying to gauge how many of these people are going to sell. Not all of them are going to sell. And when you consider BlackRock has accumulated over 300,000 Bitcoin, which is about 50,000 Bitcoin per month, that just puts things in perspective for me that at best, at the very most, let's just say, everybody sold their Bitcoin, or every 71,000 of those Bitcoin over 3 months, that's only about 23,000 Bitcoin per month. And look, that is some sell pressure. Don't get me wrong. And yes, that is a lot of Bitcoin for retail and ETFs to scoop up. But I think it was just made out much worse on crypto Twitter and YouTube. You saw all these clickbaits, get out now, big dump coming, etc. When the news broke. And these were people that had all been saying that Bitcoin's about to break out and go to a new all-time high. And I've got to give you props, Josh, because you got on your channel and you gave a very good analysis that was very measured. There wasn't fear. Sure, some people got a little bit of fear because I think they were probably overextended in the market, but you really nailed it. And I didn't see a lot. Now, on my channel, I definitely had outlined that possibility to the downside. It also outlined the possibility to the upside, but you were a lot more direct in how you managed to communicate what you really felt the charts were showing, and it just played out exactly as you predicted and said it would.
Yeah, I made a comment that if I was wrong, then that I could get my Chart Goat title stripped away.
You did.
And my favorite comment that I got in yesterday's video was, Josh, the only thing that you were wrong about was possibly being wrong. Now, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Bold. I got to give it to you. When I saw that video, I'm like, that is a bold man there. That was good. I liked it.
Mark,
You
I'll
put it
tell
on
you
the
that when
table.
I got on
Great
YouTube,
humility.
thank you. When I got on YouTube, I will tell you that I realized right away that it was going to potentially be better to play it safe. But that actually isn't my personality, and I didn't feel like I would help anybody. And so even though there is a risk to actually giving, what potentially is direction, and nobody has a crystal ball, but if I'm a technical trader and my commitment is to follow the price action, these are the three things that I bring up all the time. You've got price, volume, and momentum, right? These are like the three knights, or the three locks on the door, like the three deadbolts that keep the bears out, right? And you got to make sure they're all in place. Otherwise, the bear's going to come in and they're going to maul you to death. And, we were clearly losing volume and momentum. And typically what happens is, you begin to move up on lower volume, and then you begin to see bearish divergence where the price is going higher, but the momentum's going lower. We had all of that on Bitcoin. And, the fact is, it just didn't make sense that we were going to somehow, and that, blast off. And you're either really going up with momentum or you're going down with momentum until things cool off. And so let's talk about momentum a little bit right now with Bitcoin and how it could potentially impact a lot of the cryptos that we love and we have been taking risk positions on. The fact is that the momentum's not there. Okay. The buyers did not swoop in. Yes, we got a bounce, but for the amount that we came down, in my view, it was too measured and too soft. We came down pretty hard and we didn't really go up hard. And so that's another one of my warnings to people, is always looking for a V-shaped recovery when the market doesn't always do that. Now, I'm going to just quickly take everybody into the Bitcoin chart, and I'm going to make a new point. But this video is going to be about altcoins of interest, how they're performing, bottoms and tops, and give people some perspective of what they should be looking at. And I've got a very valuable point to people regarding somehow turning around their crypto portfolio. A little bit of advice, a little suggestion. I'm not a financial advisor, and so I'm really just sharing what it is I'm doing. I'm sharing my journey with you guys only for educational purposes. But let's just take a quick peek at Bitcoin, and I want to draw something out for you guys. Okay, guys, we're looking at the Bitcoin monthly chart. Of course, I've referenced FTX collapse and the Bitcoin bottom. And of course, we ran up way harder than people expected before the halving event. Everybody knows that story. Ever since then, we've been coming down. And I just want to go back in time for a minute and look at the last time that we came out of the winter. In that particular time frame, we came out really, really quickly. So we really only stayed down in the lower end of the Bitcoin move back in the previous winter for 2 months. And then it was really rocket ships, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months straight out. And then we had 8 months of essentially building an extremely long descending bullish channel. And when we eventually broke that, let me just draw it so in case you guys can see what I see. Right. So we had this very long 8-month channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, 9 months, right? Actually, you could count this one even as 10 months, even though we bottomed and came off, because really this candle outside of the channel was the confirmation of the large up move coming. Now, let's look at how things performed here this time. So we actually made our bottom right here, okay? FTX collapse. And then that was it. We never had even a single month of consolidation at the bottom. We literally had this bottoming candle, right? And then we just immediately came up with what would be a checkmate candle, that an engulfing green candle. And we immediately began to go on a move that took us all the way back to a new all-time high. You can see how many months did we go straight up, right? Now, I think we're going to spend that time that the market didn't spend coming out of winter. I would just tell you guys, I've marked this white dotted line here, and I can just tell you that it would not at all surprise me if we put in another 4 months of largely moving in a more compressed price fashion, A more compressed price fashion would refer to lower volume, lower momentum, less price swings, where we eventually have the same situation where we have a descending parallel channel, and we will eventually work our way out of it. And at that point, we will be on the move up. Now, let's just kind of look at this one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, potentially the 10th month from now being a breakout month. And so we're in the month of July right now. So we'll say August, September, October, November, December. And I've heard some other people say it, and it fits. Mark, let me pull you back up. Okay, so people have been asking me, when is the altcoin season? When is Bitcoin going to reach an all-time high? And some people saw this recent bullishness as an abandoned crypto, sell your entire bag, the move is over. It absolutely isn't. Now, I showed a chart in one of my videos recently. I referenced the rainbow chart, not for the rainbow, but for the fact that on it, it just simply showed graphically how many days after the halving before Bitcoin made its all-time high. That's the part that I liked about the chart. It saved me a little bit of time, and so I showed it, and it's 547 days. Guys, we still have between now and December, I believe that we're going to be in not a bullish environment, a very long consolidation move, the type of move that we should have done coming out of the winter, right? We basically went higher quicker. We should have done it coming out of the winter, moved up more slowly. We're going to end up doing the exact same thing. And then in December, we're going to begin to see some breakout. And that's where I believe that we're going to ultimately move till October of the following year, okay, for Bitcoin's all-time high. So I see an altcoin season beginning in December and an ultimate culmination to the market sometime in October of 2025. So if you take anything away from that, it's kind of a little bit of good news and bad news. The good news is we're potentially entering into what I'm going to call, I'm going to use this term, and that's going to confuse people, but it makes sense to me, Mark, which is I'm going to call it a mini winter, okay? The fact that we could potentially be moving sideways without breakout momentum for 8 to 10 months altogether, not from here forward, but altogether, it's kind of a mini winter. It's kind of a long, prolonged, boring time frame, right? Now, the fact is that cryptos and alts are going to bottom, right? And some of them are going to begin to move up sooner than Bitcoin. And as the closer we get to December, we're going to see that we're not down on the lows, but that we have actually rebuilt a base and are slowly moving up. And we could find, I'm going to give you for an example, a Solana at December that's already potentially returned to its all-time highs and is now moving on to actually begin to really move higher. And so obviously Solana's one of my picks and one of the alts I'm going to share. Mark, what are your thoughts on what I just shared? I know, again, it's kind of sober, not good news. As a technical trader, Mark, there's no buyers there. I don't see no buyers. I see nibblers. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with a large part of what you've said because there's some very sound logic. And also, when you look at Bitcoin, the last time it was under the 200 EMA, I don't know if you can bring up the chart there, back in October 2023, it did sit under there for a while and just kind of go sideways before it was able to break back up above around 26, 27K, and then it just took off. So I actually think that we could well go do the same thing, retest the 200 EMA on the daily time frame and just bounce around there before breaking out. I certainly do agree that I do feel some altcoins could have moments before Bitcoin does take off. I certainly think also Bitcoin could possibly take off a little earlier because I think we're a little accelerated in the cycle. But I do feel that you have some pretty sound logic there, and I can't disagree with what you've said. I think that's definitely a scenario that has a strong likelihood of playing out. And I would say that what you've said before is just about being in the right altcoins. It's looking against altcoins that have performed well against Bitcoin, keeping an eye on Bitcoin dominance as well to see if there's a breakdown there to when we might get a little bit of a mini pump or a mini altcoin season, or there might be just a mini altcoin season for some altcoins, like we saw previously, where a lot of these legacy coins really have not been in a bull market at all. And there are a lot of coins that have pumped incredibly. I know you're going to share some of those.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. I'm going to go through a small list of what I like right now. And this is some of these are ones that you and I talked about. But obviously, Ondo, when you compare it to the legacy coins, is doing really well. And, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I warned everybody that the chart had a bearish head and shoulders pattern. It was breaking down, and we really didn't want to be buying it until it got under $1, which we obviously did.
Yeah.
And I think that Ondo is going to continue to be an outperformer. And so I want to refill my bags on Ondo. But we're going to measure all of the coins that I'm giving. I'm going to share a coin, and then I'll share the chart here in a minute. We'll do a lightning round of charts. But Mark, let's talk about the same issue that Bitcoin's having, which is the fact that we got the Mt. Gox coins getting released, and you've got Germany selling their coins. There's this whole dynamic of tokenomics and the fact that some of these are getting unlocked, and it's causing sell pressure. So what's the situation with Ondo? What do you have on the Ondo schedule for the next unlock?
Yeah, the next unlock's not due until January 2025, so there is some time there. And I think that's why it has performed a little better than some of the other coins that are having consistent unlocks every month. And we do have to remember as well, we have the Ethereum ETF coming, and I think some people are maybe reserving some powder for an expected pump and some expected activity there as well and around that. So I think that kind of throws in something that we've never had before. I mean, first of all, we've never had any crypto ETF, and now we're about to get two, and the Solana ETF has been filed as well by Van Eck. So we've got the Bitcoin ETF, and now we've got an ETH ETF just around the corner.
Well, on that point, Mark, what I want to just remind people is that even though it's bearish, and, the fact is that this particular event was the second largest liquidation event in the history of Bitcoin. Yeah. So it's what's called a bad day. But truthfully, Bitcoin's only come down around 25% from its highs. Okay. And usually in the Bitcoin, going into the middle of the Bitcoin cycle, you can go down easily 40%. And so the fact is, we can still go down 40%. Let me just quickly throw up the Ondo chart and make a point about that. My targets for Ondo, after we get to the place where my bags are full, largely I would love to see the majority of that be, in the 80-cent range. I see this being $1.50 to $1.80 coin. If we get up to $1.80, and now these are not full peak predictions. These are largely where I'm going to want to accumulate, where I believe that it will get as a minimum in its current trade range. If we got back up to $1.78, which I would say that Ondo, from my view, I'm pretty confident that we'll get to $1.80. That's a 102% move if you're able to do the majority of your accumulation around 88 cents. And like Mark said, the fact is that we aren't dealing with a ton of token unlocks between now and December, which is where I'm believing we're going to begin to see things really break up. Some things are going to be coming off their bottoms way before December. I believe that we're going to be pushing at the top of some of these altcoins before we get to December. But December is potentially when we're going to be in a full-fledged altcoin move. Any thoughts on that, Mark?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, like you said, some alts are going to start to peak and move a lot sooner, and they're going to front run. And we saw that with Injective, took off. Render took off. Solana took off, and then a lot of the market began to follow, but many coins just didn't move at all. So I agree with you there. I think Ondo's a strong one. I think if you look at Ondo against the Bitcoin pairing, and this is what I always do, and this is what I teach on my YouTube channel and share in the Discord, look at the coin against Bitcoin. How has it performed? There are some coins that Bitcoin has outperformed since 2021. That means it would have been better for you to have been in Bitcoin than in that coin. So why were you in that coin when Bitcoin outperformed it? Just go into the safer, better, well-performed asset, and you'll have made more money rather than staying in an altcoin that's just not performing. So I agree with you there.
Both of us are trying to get people to let go of some of the underperforming tokens. And I'm going to give a bit of advice. I've actually said this once before. It's a little controversial, and it's advice for me. So I'm speaking to me in the mirror and my good friend Mark. It's not for any of you guys. You guys do what you want. Do what you want. But it's so we've been taught about being diversified as a principle in investing. But that's absolutely delusional when you're investing in crypto. So people are like, oh, Josh, you're a madman for saying that. Guys, really, you have to kind of understand the concept of investing. And I'm going to suggest that there's one or two of you that don't understand it. The whole point of taking your hard-earned money, right, that has immense value to you and investing it into something is you're trusting someone who essentially can outperform you. They can outperform your ability to trade time for money. And so we go and we say, you know what, I'm doing pretty good, but Apple's doing better. Now, what would you say if someone were to advise you to take your hard-earned money, and let's say you are a delivery guy at Amazon and you're making $30 an hour. Please forgive me. I don't know what Amazon people make, but let's just say hypothetically it's $30 an hour, and that's hard-earned money, and you got to go into work when you don't feel like it, and you got to drive in the elements. Now you take all that money and you amass $1,000, and I come along and tell you, you know what? There's this homeless guy, and he's sitting on the bench, and he's smart as a whip. Boy, he's got plans. I think you should go over there and give him your hard-earned $1,000 and see what he could do with it. You would think that I'm crazy, but let me just draw out this analogy. These crypto projects don't necessarily have profit and revenue. Okay, the money that they're using to pay the bills are through these release of tokens. So they created billions of them, if not trillions, and they've got them locked, right? And every once in a while, according to a schedule, they unlock some, they sell those into the market, they raise funds, and they pay themselves. So essentially, they're broke bums. Now, some of you are going to be like, oh, Josh, I'm trying to make a point here. I'm trying to help you guys see the big picture correctly, okay? These are not profitable, increasing margin businesses. Not largely, a lot of them. Some of them have some good technology that is gaining traction, but they're all startup companies. And so they're all high-end speculation. And here's to my point about not being diversified in them. One, if you're going to be in a high-risk asset, you want to be in the ones that are doing the best from day to day, right? Yeah. You don't want to be in ones that are underperforming. All of the legacy coins, really, except for Solana, for the most part, I know people get angry with me for saying that. A lot of them are underperforming coins like Ondo. And so you don't want to be diversified. Why? Because you don't have the time, because maybe you're driving that truck at Amazon. You don't have the time to manage and check the schedule to see when the next token unlock is and when the price is going to fall down. So okay, you say, well, Josh, you're telling me I should consolidate everything into one crypto. I'm not saying that either. But I'm just telling you, you cannot be spread out too thin, because you're never going to manage the technicals nor the fundamentals of these higher risk assets. And so I'm just telling you that, if you're in a bunch of cryptos, it might make sense for myself to do some consolidation, especially when we're going into a small winter, because some are going to get wrecked more than others. And the ones that I'm talking to you about today, all of them are pretty decent performers. And so let's continue to go through it. Real quick, before I do, let me remind everybody that this is Mark from Tribal Trades, and his page is actually linked on my page, and it's going to be linked in the description of the video, so you guys can go over and subscribe to him. In my opinion, me and Mark and a couple of the other guys that make up my community, we are one organization. And so the stuff that I want you guys to hear about, that I don't have the time to work on those videos, the reason why Mark's here on this page right now is because he's putting the hard work together for you guys to walk you through some of that, some fresh news and fresh alpha. and even some of the riskier stuff. Some of that stuff I don't even dabble in, but I know that some of you guys want it, and that's how you can reach the bigger gains in crypto, is to be on the cutting edge. There is no safe, conservative bond space in crypto. Some would say it's Bitcoin, but I would tell you that, Michael Saylor, Kathy Woods would say that, but I don't. I think that it's high risk. Okay, let's go through it some more. Mark, Brett's one of my favorite meme coins, and just curious. So let's give him the good news on Brett regarding unlocks.
All the supply is unlocked.
Oh, come on, man.
So unless there are people that are holding it that are going to sell on you, there's no big token unreleased unlock. So I like Brett. I did a Pepe versus Brett meme coin war on my channel. You can check that out. So I'm a big believer in Brett. I do like it as a meme coin on the base chain, and I think that's a good coin.
Yeah, and so what he just shared with you is that there is nobody holding necessarily that was part of the original development of Brett. So there could be owners of Brett, whales who have a lot of Brett that could dump it, but largely there's no scenario where there's a timed unlock that's constantly putting pressure. It's one of the reasons why Brett's been a great performer. Let's just quickly look at that chart. So yeah, my view on Brett, guys, is that, and this is more local range. This is not all-time high. It has not had as bad of a pull down as a lot of projects have had. And I personally have a target on Brett. And again, I think that we're going to have some more pressure to the downside. And so the closer that you can get it to 12 cents, then the bigger the opportunity is. And what's the immediate opportunity? This is not the 2025 price. This is the price I think that we can get back to in 2024, and that's 26 cents. That's a 152% move on Brett. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, Brett has been very strong. I mean, even in this dump, I think it's held up really well. And a lot of the meme coins are just getting crushed out there. I mean, you look at WIF and some of the other ones that they're really struggling, but Brett seems very strong to me.
I'm going to give you guys the coins real quick because I can already see that this video is going a little bit longer than I have planned on, but I've got Kaspa on my list. What's the good news about Kaspa?
100% supply unlocked. So no VCs, no big token unlocks ready to dump price or anything. So I like Kaspa.
And let's just go look at that.
Strong against Bitcoin too. Kaspa is very strong against Bitcoin right now.
Guys, look at this. So, this is not a defeated, broken chart. This is a chart that really, to be honest with you, is kind of curling up, getting ready to potentially make a move. So Kaspa, again, better tokenomics, better performance, very little drawdown in this recent pullback. And so I actually, to be honest with you, I'm going to say the same thing. I think that because they're going to be under more pressure, I want to try to do my accumulation under 14 cents on Kaspa. But I honestly believe that we're going to come right back up here at this 20-cent range and continue to push up higher over time. And at some point, we're going to have a parabolic breakout move, which has not even happened. None of this looks like a parabolic move. We had a decent candle here, but this is not a big blow off top move yet. But the next one is going to be Render. What is the supply on Render?
So Render has an unlock in 9 days. So that has an unlock coming up. For Render, how much supply is in circulation? The circulating supply of Render it's not bad. It's 73%.
That actually is pretty good tokenomics.
It is. Yeah, tokenomics wise. So I don't think it's a big unlock. You can always go to token unlocks and keep an eye on that one, but it does have an unlock coming up in 9 days. But I kind of feel with this dump, I think if those who are going to sell are probably gotten rid of a lot already, have kind of panic sold out. And I'm not anticipating this affecting the Render price that greatly. I think another drop down from Bitcoin would have more impact, in my opinion, because I do think the Render supply, a lot of it is already out there.
I would agree with you that I think most people aren't intimidated by the amount that's still locked up. But I'm going to tell you again that 565 is going to be, if we're going to remain under pressure on Bitcoin, which I am ultimately suggesting that we will, If it changes, guys, I'll come out and tell you. But at the moment, looking at the chart from my point of view, we have to prepare for sort of a slow period. And in that, I could see us losing momentum and getting back to this 565. I also see the potential of us getting to around 440. And so this is the area that I want to be a render buyer for when we really do begin to build momentum. And I think that everybody, it's kind of my advice for today, and we'll see if I'm wrong. But again, I wonder if my Chart Goat title will get stripped. Maybe it won't. People that are looking for a V-shaped recovery on all of crypto are going to be disappointed because I don't believe that we're in that moment right now. So let me keep going. I'm going to shout out another one to you. Let's talk about Solana. What's the unlock scenario with Solana?
Yeah, it has an unlock in about 170 odd days. So what is that? That's about 6 months away. So I guess similar time frame to Ondo. And I haven't checked exactly how much are being unlocked, but Solana seems to have these unlocks from time to time. And so I don't see it as something that's going to cause any immediate sell pressure. Like I said, it's a good 6 months away.
Okay, so I had previously done a Technical Tuesdays with Tim, and I told everybody that the chart did not look good when we were coming here, and we were above 166. I said it's unfortunately a sell at that time, and I predicted that we would get back to 126. And I put a little guy here indicating that we got there, we got a little bounce, but again, I'm going to say that my ideal accumulation on Solana, even though I've been buying some right here, and I'm not really afraid to do that because I kind of feel like we will be back above 200. And so I like the idea of accumulating here at 126. And again, with this idea that if we continue to move down, I'm going to perhaps get an opportunity to get some even at 100. There's no guarantee. And I can't tell you, Mark, how many times I got to give a little bit of what we call Keenan's bop, bop, bop. When I give technicals, I give trend lines where the price can go. Underneath every single support is another support, all the way back to the point in which it IPO'd. So underneath every support is another support. And when I mention supports that are 1, 2, or 3 levels below, people hear the third level, whatever it may be, and they're like, Josh said it's going to $100. Josh said it's going to $60. No. The reason why I talk about these support levels is that you should have a DCA strategy and you need to be prepared. I think that it's attractive at 125. I just told you I was buying it right now, but I'm looking ahead that if that 125 is not the ultimate low, I'm looking ahead and preparing some dry powder, as they say, to buy at 100. And guess what, guys? If we got to 100, I'd come out here and give you the next support below. All right, so let me just keep going through my list. Then you've got Bonk, and I like Bonk. Bonk's a great performer. Meme coins have been outperforming. Maybe in December, the alts will outperform the meme coins, but it hasn't been the case. This has been the meme coin cycle, with Bitcoin together. They've been the ones performing the best by far, community driven, ultimately going under the radar of regulation. If you've been on this page, you've heard my logic, about why these meme coins can run, because even though they don't have technology and some would say they're useless, no. All that's going to happen is that because they go under the radar of regulation, there's going to be technology that simply comes into partnership with them, i.e. Dogecoin, X platform. All you have to do is marry the technology with the community, and now you've got something very powerful. And so in some cases, it's perfect that they're essentially largely technology-less vehicles, because now you can do anything with them if you're a billionaire or if you've got a large enough, product that makes them very powerful. That's what people are going to discover at some point. I already see it. I've been sharing it with you guys for a long time. That's going to happen. So I like Bonk. So let's take a quick moment and look at that chart. What's the situation with Bonk as far as tokenomics?
Yeah, Bonk is 71% supply is out there. So I think that's pretty solid. Solana has 80% supply out there. I think anything like 70, 80% is pretty solid. There are some potential unlocks coming, but they're to be determined. I couldn't find any information on those ones there. But like I said, I think the supply, I think you would agree, the supply of 70% out there is pretty solid.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you guys that I actually like anything. I actually like the 4 zeros, 22-cent price and below to 18. I actually have been actively buying this one with a little bit more aggression. And like I said, I like the price from 0.22 to 4 zeros, 18. And I believe that we will see an all-time high. I actually believe that we're going to come up and touch this trend line at some point in the future in a big parabolic move. And, I'm a bit out there, guys. Again, judge me when I'm wrong. We'll discuss it in 2025. But I actually see Bonk getting up here to 4 zeros, 80. And at the moment, just getting back to 4 zeros, 4.5 is going to be 150%. But let's just, for kicks and giggles, get over here and see what this number would be to my real target. Now you're looking at 366% for anything that you can accumulate at 4 zeros, 18. Guys, yeah. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee you that return. This is simply my trade plan. Remember, all I'm doing is sharing my trade plan. Okay, we're going to look at Arweave. This is another one of interest, and then we're going to talk about one that that Mark wanted to share. But what's the situation with Arweave? Are we facing any unlocks there?
Arweave is another 100% supply is out. So there's no unlock, no sell pressure on Arweave. And it's so funny because we didn't talk about any of these coins, by the way. And number one, Arweave is one that I'm going to be discussing on my show tomorrow. I might be adding to my cheat sheet. And the funny thing is as well is that every coin that you have mentioned, and I don't know if you've seen my crypto cheat sheet or not.
I haven't.
It's on my crypto cheat sheet. We didn't even discuss this beforehand. No. I kind of laughed when I heard the coins. I'm like, these are all on my cheat sheet except for Arweave, which is going to be added to it.
Yeah. So before the show, we talked about doing the show. I put together my list of things I've been looking at and buying, and I shot it to him and I said, hey, just go through, check any scheduled unlocks of tokens for me, and let's talk about these. And it was really interesting because one of the reasons why we have these conversations is for your guys' benefit, but sometimes it's for our benefit and just bouncing ideas off of each other. But yeah, so he was thinking about buying Arweave, and Arweave is one that I've been looking at. And just looking at the chart, guys, first of all, this has had good performance, good relative performance. Let me get us to the chart. And I'm just going to give it to you simple. Even if we just return to the current cycle high, which to me is a minimum move, if we can accumulate here under $20, there is the next level of support at around $15.50. So any accumulation in here, you're looking at, you're looking at a minimum of 150% move and potentially a 235% move. And you can see the value in letting this come down another $5 and saving a little dry powder, because you actually, just for this little bit of additional move, guys, you're picking up an additional 100%. That's how it works. That's the math. And I think that, again, the targets I've been giving you guys. These are my December targets, not my all-time high targets for these cryptos. Okay, let's move on to the last one. And this was one that I wanted you to talk about, OM. Tell the fam about OM, Mark.
Yeah, so OM, like all of the coins that you've brought up, have performed extremely strong against Bitcoin. And this is a point that I want everybody to understand. That if you have an altcoin that has not performed well against Bitcoin, it would have been better for you to have been in Bitcoin. It's safer and you would have made more money. All of the coins that, Josh, you brought in have all performed brilliant against Bitcoin. And unbeknown to you, I have a list of 12 coins that I'm sharing on tomorrow's show that I feel people could rotate their weaker stuff into. And all the coins, every single one of the coins that you shared is on that list. But you didn't know that.
Can I underline Mark's point? I just want to underline Mark's point here, okay? The only reason you venture away from Bitcoin, now I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not. Michael Saylor is, okay? He only buys Bitcoin. The rest is trash to him, okay? The poors are buying the rest. That's kind of something he said, right? I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I do understand something important about what Michael Saylor believes, which is this is largely the most important asset in crypto. And I believe that that's the case. I believe that's why the market makers will never let it collapse, because it technically is the foundation that everything else is built upon until proven otherwise. And so what that means is it's the absolute safest place to put your money. So then why would people buy other coins? Because they want to get more profit. They want to assume more risk getting out of the big boy, the safest one. But what Mark's telling you is that these other ones have not provided that. So it's been more risk and a bigger loss. It would have just been way better if you had bought Bitcoin and taken the percentage move that it gave. Now, you cannot say that about Bonk. Okay, Bonk's up. I'll take you guys real quick just to illustrate my point. Bonk's up 6,423%. Guys, Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin has gone up, I believe, 250% from its market low back in 2022. And Bonk has whooped its butt. And so it would have been sensible if you had assumed some risk with Bonk, because you would be up thousands and thousands of percentage points more than Bitcoin. But when you go to the legacy coins, it's not the case. It would have been just simply better and safer to have stayed in Bitcoin. That's his point, guys. Sorry. Continue on.
Yeah, so OM is one. Mantra is the name, but OM is the ticker. And I don't know if you've got the chart there.
Yep. I can pull it up. Yep, go ahead.
Here's the thing, 94% is unlocked. And like pretty much every coin that you've shared, or almost every coin that you've shared, is it not coincidental that either most of the supply is unlocked, or there's not an unlock for another 6 months? And this is huge when looking at a coin is looking at it against Bitcoin. And look how well this has performed. I mean, Bitcoin had a massive crash on July 4th, and what did OM do? Just sat there and laughed by the look of it.
It's a green candle, man. It's one of the few green candles that we actually have looked at this month.
Yeah, incredible. So it's a layer one security blockchain, heavily around the real world assets. I won't go into all of it. I'll share more on my show tomorrow, but why don't you share some technicals there, because you've got some good levels.
Well, I'll just tell you guys again, for me, I do believe that we're going to have some more pullback, potentially, not guaranteed. And I'm going to assume that where I see the strongest level of support is where I'm going to have the best and most favorable position moving forward, because I believe that it's really going to be that October, November, December where things begin to ramp up. And I want to be taking positions now, but I want to take them closer to their to the floor, giving it the opportunity to come down a little bit. There's no guarantee that it will, but the closer I get to 62%, the safer my investment in OM is. And just to get back to the current local top, which is nothing for this particular crypto, would be a 76% gain if I can do the majority of my accumulation at 62. And the main point, guys, that I want to make there is getting that great entry, right? Getting that entry, and then knowing that we've got a pump coming in December, then you're not going to be getting in and out of these. You're just going to ride the winners. And, forgive me for talking about Tesla in this video on crypto, but this was the story I was sharing daily when I talked about Tesla. I said, guys, under 200, under 200, under 200, under 200, right? Now we're sitting here at 250, and I told you guys that we would be back here. I said we'd be back to 250 minimum in 2024, if not 300. Okay, that story, right? And then now people are seeing it. Well, I'm saying the same thing about these altcoins. There's an environment I'm giving you. And if you can get these beneath these prices, then the minute they pop 10, 20%, you're not selling. You're not selling. We're going after the big bags. We're going after the 100% gains in December. Now, what I love about doing what I'm doing, Mark, is that some people listen to me. Not everybody. But I love it when, the Amazon driver, the teacher, the nurse, I love it because I'm already looking forward to the fun of hearing from them. Josh, I heard you that day. I heard you that day about the strategy. I took it seriously. When everyone else was too afraid to listen, I did something, and I accumulated at the right time, and now I'm up hundreds of percentage points. I got that, Mark, when I was telling this story in 2022, when I was telling people to just spend $25 a week in the winter, that they wouldn't be sorry. And then later on, when we came up out of the winter, I was so much fun to get these comments saying, Josh, I listened, I'm up big. And you know what? We can do it again. And like I said, 8-month window, the 9th and 10th month. Now it's not 8 months from here because we've already spent 4 months, right? But we've got a little bit of more time that I think is going to be an accumulation period because I don't see momentum coming in right now. And I think that we want to be thinking about being largely in our positions so that we can participate in the October, November, December run-up of these altcoins that I'm sharing with you. I've also advised consolidation, right? Because it's hard to manage a portfolio of 20 projects, especially if 12 of those projects are bums. And you gave your money to a bum and you thought he was going to turn it into something else. You didn't invest in the magnificent 7 or magnificent 8, but I'm giving you 7 or 8 cryptos here right now that you can take a hard look at. Yeah. We're going to leave it there, guys. Let me just say one thing, and then I'm going to let Mark close up the show. First of all, Mark's doing an incredible job. He's providing such a valuable resource in the Stocks with Josh Discord. I see him in there in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, answering questions. And you know what? I wouldn't feel comfortable in there if he were saying things that I would say differently, but he never is. Everything he says, you could say, I mean. Everything Mark says, I mean. And so it's a good team. Guys, if you don't know what the Stocks with Josh Discord is, it's a community of professional traders and a community of people on an investment journey to educate themselves so that they can become the chart goat of their own future trading journey. I'm going to leave a link in the top pinned comment. It's www.stockswithjosh.com. Mark, thank you for being on the show. What final thought would you like to leave the community?
Just one of just gratitude, really. Just gratitude for an amazing community that you built and the wonderful people that are in there. So I just think the Stocks with Josh community as a whole is just an amazing group of people, amazing group of traders. And I think if anybody hasn't signed up for the Discord, it probably would be one of the best financial decisions that they could ever make in their lives. They'll just be so well educated. And just everybody in there is really looking to help one another. Just really incredible, encouraging, well-educated community. So you've done a great job in there. I think it's been a great launch of it. And there are just so many different levels in there. If people are beginners, whether they're intermediate or expert, there's something there for everyone. So don't think it's just for all the pros. It's for you that are sitting out there and you want to get started in your trading journey. This can be the first day of the rest of your life. So I encourage you to get in there.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the contribution that you give. One last question. Hamster Combat, any timeline? I'm not in Hamster Combat, guys, but I know that there are plenty in the community that are. They see your face and they're like, I want the hamster update. Is there anything you want to share with them?
There hasn't been one. It's said that it's going to come in July. And I think for Hamster Combat, I mean, they're just breaking all kinds of records for gaming and YouTube and Telegram, one of the top most people on their app and gaming. And I think they're wanting to ride this as long as they can. So my best guess, and this is based on nothing but a guess, is that they're probably smart to trying to push this out to as late in July as they can, really. And I think they're going to be smarter to wait until the market recovers a little bit from this big dump that we've had. So they release the token in a more bullish environment. So we'll see if that takes place. But I'm looking at the official channels on a daily basis, and I haven't seen as of, the last 3-4 hours today. Maybe there's been an update I haven't checked, that I haven't seen anything else apart from a July launch on that token.
I want to add that it's all a big joke until somebody buys a JPEG of a rock for $4 million. That's my fundamental thesis on Hamster Combat. And, we'll see. I think I'm really curious to see what will come of it. I hope that it's money for people that they can put into real strategy investing. And, that's why we did that. So that's why we talked about it. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Mark, thanks for being here. Guys, hit that like and subscribe over at Tribal Trades. That's the last thing I need you guys to do is go over to Tribal Trades and hit that like and subscribe. Thank you again. Peace and blessings. Take care.
So much.